Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome to Bajerski YouTube channel. It's a beautiful day today and today we're going to do a workshop. So it's going to be a really lovely, I don't know, maybe half an hour to an hour, and I think already everybody's ran. They've gone. If it's not 30 seconds, forget it. Hi guys, I'm speaking to you guys who have been with me now 2 years and who've grown. We've grown together and we've learned so much, and we're learning every day, and the more we realise we know, the more we realise we don't know, and we've got so much to learn about the world of spirituality, health, and all the other subjects that we talk about from day to day. Just at the moment, I'm burning behind me some the sticks, Palo Santo sticks, just to give myself a nice cleanse. Feel good, feel good, feel good. That's what it's about. Ultimately, it's to feel good. So for those who don't know me and have now joined and wondered who I am and maybe judging me and wondering what's going on behind me and all of those things, welcome here for the first time. My name's Bajerski, as you now know, and my work started 15 years ago. 15 years ago I was an auctioneer with many different businesses as well, and I decided I couldn't cope with life anymore. It was too stressful with irritable bowel syndrome and all the other stresses in life. I just couldn't live that kind of lifestyle anymore. I was becoming more ill, and to be honest, I think my sensitivity was growing so strong that I couldn't cope with much. So I decided to leave, and I left everything behind, and I ended up on this magical mountain called Pueblo. From that moment on, my destiny became more of a reality than my life, which was an illusion at the time. And I realize that now more than ever. And I was blessed enough to be able to follow that truth, that gentle nudge in the right direction to take me to this day now here, and the workshop that we're going to talk about, which is the 15 years of working with oils. And as all you know, last week we started working with the latest oil of 8. And I think some of you have got it now and you're already sending me messages, which is great. You love it, which is good. It's really good. I'm hoping to hear a lot more from the Heartache healing oil from you guys. I'm finding it very, very useful at the moment, not for heartache as such as for strengthening my heart, but yes, many other things. I can feel great work being done with this. So I'm really looking down here at the 8 oils that I created through my belief is Spirit's helping hand. And not just that, you have to couple all of those things with not just making an oil, but actually using them through your working days. So these are my working tools, and they have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that I didn't make these oils to sell. I made them to work with as a practitioner, as a healer at that time. And thus we've come to the stage in my life now where one of my last courses on pure energy healing, which is exactly what I do, and it's now recognized worldwide. Pure energy healers are over, I think we're up to about 1,500 healers worldwide who have come to learn the art of pure energy healing from this academy. And prior to this academy, the place where I used to work, in a little room where we used to sit down, all 4 of us, because people used to say, "My God, Mark, I feel better. What is this work?" And I'd say, "Well, it's just, something that I've been practicing and doing, and can I learn it?" I said, "Okay, I'll give it a go." And it grew and grew and grew, and now we're doing some amazing work. And any of you practitioners out there, pure energy healing practitioners, love you all. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for being amazing, and thank you for being humble and keeping ego at bay, which is the most important thing. So today we're going to grasp a little bit of the oils, now that you know how it basically started and how the final oil last week became the final oil. But what I really want to share with you today is how these oils work. And if you're new to this YouTube channel, I want to share the oils with you and explain how they work, why they work, and what they're good for. Some people are a little bit confused by certain oils that I use and say, Mark, I've got the sacred oil, I've got the awakening oil, what's the difference? And I say to people, just try them, work with them and see, you let me know. And then a lot of the times you call me back and answer me back saying, wow, Mark, it helped for this, it helped for that. And this oil is slightly different for this and that, and I felt this, and that's when I say, exactly. I think the truth about these oils is that you have to experiment yourself, because each soul, each individual, each client that you're healing has a different energy block, a different energy, a different vibration. So you might find yourself, I mean, when we really get into the real nooks and crannies of these oils, it kind of is really difficult for a lot of people to understand how and why I work with them, because they expect ABC, 1, 2, 3 steps, guides to how they work. But ultimately, when you come here to learn pure energy healing and how I truly work with my crystals and oils, it's a different ball game. It kind of throws a lot of people, and it takes them a while to digest the whole point about how I work, which is very, very different from probably what you think. But anyway, I'm gonna take you through these oils now, and it's gonna be so we're gonna have some fun. First of all, I'm gonna take a little drink. I've been working very hard today on many things, as well as these beauties over here. These are my latest batch of very necessary and appropriate crystals for this moment in time, which is great for the Wi-Fi and all the bad stuff that's happening and being dropped upon us. It's a great crystal, and I'll explain that crystal in a few days' time, which is called lava stone. Amazing crystal, amazing properties inside them. Okay, so I'm going to start with the oils, and we're going to start with the first oil that I kind of began with, which is the healing oil. Of course, when you're a healer, the first thing that you want to do is start to heal people, right? So this is the first oil, the healing oil. So what is healing oil? Well, healing oil, when I first started, was very important in 3 different levels. The first level was healing on a spiritual level. And the second level was healing on an emotional level. And the third was healing on a physical, spiritual, emotional. That's how I saw it, okay? And I needed one oil to try and heal with all of these 3 things. What I found very quickly is by using this healing oil and what I was adding to this oil and how I was working it with my clients, I realized that the healing oil was good for all 3 and was working very well. But what I noticed very quickly is that many people were coming to me with physical issues. And I was rubbing the oil in my hands and then placing my hands not onto the skin but around the body. And the vibration of the oil up against my skin and doing the healing work was having some great effect. Now, I've got thousands of testimonials to say that the healing oil is amazing for any kind of physical issue. If you've got knee joint pains, if you've had a really bad sprain in a car accident, if you've got a bad back, blah, 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 all of these physical issues, right down to the toes, right up to the head, headaches, things like that, all these things. And people were using them and rubbing them close to that area, breathing the oil in through the nose, and then again, like I said, just leaving the hand around that body area, or even just holding their hand near there, or even just rubbing it very close to the area. If it was a cut, anything like that, they would never rub it on the cut directly. They would rub it around the cut or the sore. So I was finding that while I was doing the healing work, brings back a memory of a lady who had a very, very bad foot, really bad. And she came in a wheelchair, and within 6 months she was out of the wheelchair and she could walk properly. And I was using the healing oil, and she was taking that home and using it. So we were continuing the work even though she wasn't with me every day. Yeah, that was really interesting because she actually had to have a foot nearly taken off completely. And that was Barbara. Barbara, beautiful soul, love her to bits. She's on my Facebook. She's strong, powerful. She walks now with both her feet without any crutches or anything, and she's a miracle. And to be honest, the healing oil was only part of her healing, obviously, because you can only heal if you believe in that healing, if you believe in yourself. And some people call that placebo, but we know different. Placebo is self-healing. If you take the word placebo away, self-healing is exactly what it is. So also this really does penetrate in a loving, beautiful way. Now, the oil that's used in here, there are many. There's over, I think, if I said comfortably 200 different oils from around the world, from shamans, from alchemists, from Buddhists, from every kind of beautiful soul that I've met in 15 years, that went into my first oil. The oil changed from week to week, month to month, year to year, depending on the vibration, what I felt the oil needed, how I felt the world was changing. And I would go with that feeling. I would go with the feeling. So I would look for certain healing plants and roots and anything that I felt would work in the oil, that would blend well and work well without causing irritation or any problems. None of my oils up to this moment I have ever been told has caused any issue to anybody with regards to irritation or anything like that. I do suggest if you've got a nut allergy not to take mine, because obviously my oils are 15 years old and I always keep them half. If they go down halfway, I then re-energize that oil with fresh oils and continue that way. So there's always a chance, even after 15 years, that I may have used a nut oil 15 years ago. And I did at one point. I used to use almond oil, which I loved. So I would always suggest to people, if you've got a nut allergy, don't use my oils. Even though I know a lot of people who have nut allergies still buy it and try it and say, actually, Mark, I have no problem at all. But I always err in the side of caution. So at the moment, and from the past few years, I've been using a Satie oil of grape seed. That seems to mix really well. So in this one at the moment, I've really loved the essence of 5 or 6 different healing oils in this one. The predominant one at the moment is lavender, that I needed to get wild and beautiful and fresh lavender, and then had that pressed and put into here. So you have a lavender smell, which is very, very good for like many different ailments, headaches, problems. You need to relax, rest. So the healing oil does what it says. It's a really beautiful healing oil in many aspects. I believe it also is still amazing spiritually and emotionally, fantastic for any of those things, but predominantly as a healer, as a practitioner, and many of the practitioners who use my oils will always say it's amazing for physical well-being. Okay, so that's the first oil. Okay, love it to bits. I'll put that one there. I think second came cleansing oil. So what started happening in the world of my healing work was I opened my doors to free healing to anybody with cancer. And that lasted for 2 or 3 years. And you can imagine when people come to you when they've got stage 1, 2, 3, whatever stage it is, and they really are in a place of real need, real need. And of course I was doing it free of charge, so that took away any idiots who say that healers and psychics and workers just take advantage of people who are in a bad place and they make money from them. So nobody could ever point the finger at me there, which is ridiculous, because we don't charge for our spiritual work. We charge for our time like anybody else does. But people were coming with real negative energy around them because of the fear of wherever they were going to, what they were told was going to happen to them, the procedures, what they had to go through the system and through hospitals. I never ever interfered with that. It was none of my business. All I ever said to people was sit down, keep your mouth shut, let me do the work. And then I give them a hug and let them go. And if they ever said that oil what you used was lovely, I would always give them a little. I actually started with these. I started with these, and I would fill them up. And if anybody asked, I would just give them 1, 2, or 3 bottles, depending on what oils I had at that time, to keep them going. But I never ever just said, here, take this, it's going to work. I'd wait till the client asked me, because then it meant something to me. It really did. It's like, okay, well, if they're asking for the oils, then there must be something in that. They must instinctively know that whatever I rubbed on them helped them. So I wasn't a pusher and forcer, and anybody who knows me who's ever come here to the Academy to learn, the first thing we talk about, one of the ethics in pure energy healing is, and you can go on my website and read the ethics, you must not force your work on anybody. So I've always had that standard that, you know what, if this is real, if this is true, then I don't need to advertise, I don't need to tell people. They'll come by whatever means that spirit brings them to me. And same with all my crystals. I never forced a crystal on anybody. I always gifted crystals if somebody wanted one and felt that they were drawn to a crystal. Same with my oils. So going back to the clients who were really struggling with they were being told by, you know, the doctors, and the fear of what they're going to now go through for the next 3 months. So they'd lie down, and I realized that this one bottle, a beautiful jar of oil, which is over here, I realized that, okay, physical, how about cleansing people from this real fear? And the funny thing is, the moment I started to create this oil, this new oil, somebody introduced me to Palo Santo. And Palo Santo is an amazing, amazing tree. And they introduced me to it via an oil. And that was it. I started to use it for the first 3 months and worked with it, and realized this is amazing stuff. It's really amazing. It has properties in there that are so powerful that you just can't even explain. And of course, most of my products now, my incense sticks, they're all Palo Santo based, because I know that it's probably the #1 and most powerful source of Mother Nature that clears negativity. So I started a new jar, and I started the base oil, and then started the Palo Santo and many other oils, because I always take from the first jar and put into the second jar as my base starting oil. So I started working with that, and then my clients came, and I recognized very quickly that a lot of the suffering was in around the mind, the temples, and then I'd rub it on their back or their stomach. And thus we created this oil, which is called cleansing oil. Now, funnily enough, soon as I started really working with the cleansing oil more and more, and placing my hands on the oils like I did for 15 years every day on the oils before I started my work, to energize and put good energy into it, I started getting people coming to me who were claiming that they were possessed, that there were demons in them and things like that. It became quite like, wow, what's happening here? Again, keep your mouth shut, lie down, let me get on with the work. First thing I'd do is rub this oil on their back or wherever I felt I needed to put it, and started working with their energy, looking at their energy, seeing what was happening. And I noticed very quickly that the cleansing oil was clearing negative, dark and dirty energy very fast. So as I'm working on the body and placing my hands around the body, I found that the energy was clearing really quickly. And people who were claiming that they had entities or whatever they wanted to say it had no issue to me. I just do the work and lay my hands on them, and then an hour later it was gone. And I was getting people saying that this stuff is amazing. I also get many people who are coming to me who are being attacked daily. Many famous people as well were now starting to recognize this oil. A-listers, celebrities, royalty, and they were using this oil because they realized it works. Now, these were my clients, and they were using this oil on a daily basis, saying, Mark, normally I'd be in a meeting, or normally I'd be on set, or normally I'd be, doing whatever royal engagements, and this is working. It's protecting me. And I thought, wow, this is a protection as well. This is beautiful. It's not only a cleanser, but they're feeling protected, which was really interesting, because every time I was in a situation where I would be attacked, because then, as any of you healers know, anybody who puts yourself out there into the public domain and wants to help somebody, the darkness starts to attack you through people. It's a natural process we go through to stop us. Anybody who wants to do the work and wants to love and make a difference in the world, you will be attacked. You will be attacked. But anyway, so like I was getting all this information back. Speakers were coming to me saying, Mark, I use this. Singers were saying I was rubbing this here and there, and it was clearing my throat because I couldn't speak before. I couldn't sing properly. And now, so I'm realizing that this cleansing oil is an amazing oil for clearing blockages, issues. If you struggle to speak to your friends because you've got an issue with that, you'd rub it on your throat and you'd be able to speak more clearly. And all of a sudden, healers were coming to me saying, Mark, I use this oil and I'm rubbing it on my back like you told me to, where my kidneys are, and I'm feeling better. I'm actually being able to do the work all day. So I realized very soon, within that 1 year of that coming out, that I created, through the essence of my work and through listening to what I believe is my higher self, which is spirit. It's your intuition, which is connected to the spirit world. So I'm listening to all of this information, not from my clients as much as from spirit, but from every action, every outcome is giving me confirmation. Whether that's positive or negative, I'm receiving this information and working with it. So thus I came to my second oil, which is cleansing oil. Like I said, it's an amazing oil for cleansing negative energy in and around us from whatever circumstance you go through. I use this all the time. It's incredible. It works. There are so many places you can rub it, but my intuition always leads me to rub it at the certain places of the body. Last week I had a bit of an ear infection because, well, it never happened before, but I went into the shower, came out, lied down the fan because it was so hot. I put the fan on full blast when I woke up in the morning, and I thought, oh my God, my ear. And it was because the wind was blowing in and I didn't clear the water out of my ear, and thus I created an issue in my ear. I've been rubbing this oil and a bit of sacred oil all over my head, all over my neck. It's just about gone now. So, and it could have been pretty bad. I may have had to have gone on to a very strong antibiotic, which I didn't want to do because I used to have IBS, and anything strong like antibiotics will trigger something really bad in the stomach, and I don't want to go down that path. So just to sidetrack, I listened to Don Tolman's protocol, which is 35% food grade digestible hydrogen peroxide, and I watered it right down and put 10 drops in my ear when the pain was really bad. It started to get really bad. Tipped over 1 minute, rinsed it, shook it all out, and then the next day, I promise you, there was no more pain. But the whatever was happening, it went down to my kind of neck a little bit, and then up to my head. So that had to heal, and that's when I've been using this. And like I said, it's nearly gone, and it's been about 6 days. So that's pretty good with no antibiotics. And I'm telling you, I could feel it was getting really bad, and I didn't want to take antibiotics. So thank you very much, Don Tolman. Thank you, hydrogen peroxide. You are amazing. So there you go. The cleansing oil is an amazing, amazing must if you work with the general public. It's an amazing oil that you can use on a daily basis to keep yourself protected, to heal yourself, keep yourself strong. I advise people to always rub it, again, at the places where you need healing most of all. A lot of the times you get a lot of issues in your stomach, so rub it on your stomach. A lot of the times if you're attacked by general public or people say bad things and people are pointing their energy at you, a lot of the times it's not in your face, it's in your back. So if you think about that, a lot of the times when we struggle with everything, it comes down to our shoulders and then right down to the base of our spine. That back is always filled with a lot of issues and heaviness. So I always say with this, rub 3 drops on your back, lower and then halfway up. You know, sometimes we'll just do this, you know. Well, if you do that and come round here and rub the oil there, that's the perfect place to rub it. So, oil 2, love it to bits. All of a sudden, my kind of, you see, life changes every day, like yours do. So some days you just don't want to be here. Some days you're excited. Some days you feel strange. Some days you feel like nothing's happening at all, right? I posted something this morning about that, you know, but that's life. It's the change of everything that's happening in and around this world. The energy changes all the time, and we often forget about that. We don't kind of put them pieces together so much as, oh, it's my life and everything's going wrong or everything is going right, where it could have something to do with the energy shifting all the time. So at a particular point after I'd made these 2 beautiful oils, people were coming to me then and saying, my life is frozen. I don't know what to do in my life. I don't know, you know, I'm just not happy anymore. And I went, okay, well, I looked at both my oils and thought, well, these 2 oils aren't really going to help for that so much, because it wasn't really about cleansing negative energy. It wasn't about healing them physically, but this was more about helping them feel better and more uplifted and to help them clear, I don't know, maybe the thought process of everything's going wrong and why is my life like this. And people then started talking about wealth, and it's not something that I'm interested in this field of work at all. And the reason why is because, you know, you will receive everything you need when you find your own body in balance, both spiritually and emotionally. So that was more important, but people were genuinely wanting to, you know, do better in life and achieve certain goals in life. And I thought, you know, Mark, I think I'm getting this message that it's time that I start to create an oil which is for that particular energy work. Thus, I came up with, let's have a look, where are you? This, which is called Abundance oil. Now, please don't get me wrong with abundance. It doesn't mean wealth. Abundance to me means abundance of all good things, okay? So abundance of peace, abundance of happiness, abundance of joy, abundance of great energy, abundance of everything on a positive level. So this I started, so I took my first oil, my second oil, and placed it into a new jar and said, what am I going to start to use in this oil? What am I going to mix? So I started with maybe 50 different oils, working with 50 different oils. And remember, the most important thing about my oils is intention. So when I'm working on that oil and I've got my hands over that oil, I'm putting abundance in there. I'm seeing people feeling stronger, happier, confident, seeing people find their path, what they want to do in life, reaching their goals. And I'm working on this same energy, vibration. So what a lot of the times what I do is turn and look at my customer for maybe 5 or 6 seconds, get a great profile outline when they're lying down, turn to the oils, place my hands on the oils for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and visualize that very person jumping up and happy and doing well and laughing and joking. Then I take that oil and work with that oil on the client. So this oil now, after, I don't know, it's again 15 years now, this oil has gone through so many changes as well. And one of the oils I like to, or 2 of the oils that I really love to use in this is jasmine and ylang ylang. And these 2 oils work so well in and amongst many other oils. So if you smell this oil now, it will smell predominantly ylang ylang, because that's what I've liked to use in this oil. Now, a lot of you will relate that to sexual, and many other, if you study a little bit about ylang ylang. But for me, it is the energy of uplift. It makes you feel good, makes you feel strong. But remember, in these jars also have an abundance of crystals which complement that energy that I'm working on. So I would use pyrite in this one because pyrite is a crystal of abundance for me, and many other crystals. It's just giving you an idea. So I'd work with this oil on the clients that I just mentioned to you, and they were coming back to me saying, "You're not going to believe this." And I'm going to say, "Go on then, I've just got a job." "You're not going to believe this. I've just started writing a book and I've just got a contract, and somebody said they're going to print my book." And I was getting messages after messages of people saying that their life was changing because of the oils, right? Remember, I wasn't selling the oils. I was giving them whenever asked. So I'm thinking, wow, I'm on the right track here. Now, bear in mind, through the day, I had between 5 and 8 clients a day. And it was stretched from half an hour to an hour, and sometimes an hour and a half, depending on what they were going through. Of course, if they were going through the loss of a family member, I'd be there much longer and give them more time and more love. If it was somebody who just wants a quick fix, feel better, feel stronger, then they'd be there half an hour, 45 minutes. So I was getting a lot of clients coming back with feedback with this oil. So I thought, this is really working. This is really working. And I took this oil down to circles. I used to do circles from when I first started. It was like 5 or 6, and then it grew to like 136 was one of the last circles I did. And I'd rub this oil on every client who'd come through, and we'd sit down and we'd start the circle. I'd give a talk and do some healing around, go around, touch everybody on the head, and then talk again and bring the energy up. And people were saying to me, "Mark, I don't know what I'd do without these circles. My life's changing." So I knew the oils were working amazingly well. And I was so confident with these oils, and I'd loved the oils. They were like my baby. And every day I'd come into my little place in Mias Pueblo, and I'd lay my hands on all 3 oils, sending the direct energy of exactly what they need: physical healing, cleansing of negative energy, and abundance. So these were my free oils for many years. As time went on and I started teaching more and more, and I became more involved with the retreats, traveling the world, working as a horse healer for the Bruggeman group, traveling all over, basically worldwide. What was happening is that I realized my work was growing and I needed to expand on a certain oil that I needed thereafter. So that oil came, and I'm just going to grab that now. Where are you, baby? There you go. Now, this oil broke free from all my rest of the oils because the pattern had now changed, because I realized as soon as I brought this oil out that all the other oils that I had dreams of or feelings of or wrote down many years ago, now I had the opportunity, because I had a little website and people used to love my crystals and used to buy a crystal and said, "Mark, the energy in this crystal is beautiful." And I said, "Yes, I work with the same energy as I do with my oils, with my crystals." So people were now starting talking about it. Then some famous people started putting up on their sites, and the website grew. About 2 years ago, the website started to grow, and thus YouTube channel started to grow. So a lot of you guys know who I am from 2 years ago with the first video with a lemon. So that was really interesting and very surprising for me, because I'd worked for like 13 years and I'd just been steady away. Yes, okay, I'd got a reputation, I was doing quite well, but I was just steady away. But now the website was now growing. And then I was able to fulfill the rest of my oils, which was just amazing. So the first oil I knew I had to create was an oil of a blend of 3 beautiful, beautiful energies, which are, and I'll tell you, frankincense, which is incredible if you do some studying about that. The world doesn't know much about frankincense, but it will. Sage, amazing, amazing. and lastly, Palo Santo. I knew that if I put these three in, I would create a most amazing oil that would be, well, there's only one word for it, and I'm going to show it you here. It's called sacred oil. So this is the sacred oil. So I take the first oil, which is healing oil. I take the second oil, which is the cleansing oil. The third oil, the abundance oil. And I now have the start of my base foundation of 15 years. Now I'm going to start adding the rest of these three oils in, and crystals, which are amazing, powerful. Just got one on my neck here. So they're filled with tektites and moldavites as just some of the crystals that are in this oil. It has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt one of the most powerful oils of all of the oils for sacred work. Now, what is sacred oil? What does it do? What is the difference between abundance, cleansing, and healing, and why sacred? Well, sacred oil for me is all of the above. It is a complete and utter match made in the spirit world. It brings all the forces together of everything that is spiritual, and it's in a bottle that you can now work with so many different ways. And obviously you have sage, which is going to cleanse and clear you of all negativity. You've got Palo Santo, which is also going to cleanse and clear you of all negativity, and frankincense, which is beyond anything an amazing mix and combination that heals in so many ways. I tell you, the hardest thing for me was to talk about this and to give it the justice, the credit, the amazement, what it needs. But I can't. All I can say is that when people started buying it, they were saying, Mark, this has happened, that's happened. And I'm saying, yes. I mean, for me, I was working on a client, and after I'd finished working on them, they were in a really, really bad place. And this was a really quite heavy energy. When she left, at the back on my I think left-hand side, I can't remember or left or right, I started feeling this pain. It was like, wow, I think I've picked something up. So I just finished the sacred oil, and I was a little bit nervous, and I thought, okay, now is the ultimate test, because what I've just had to go through, the pain that this person's just suffered, physical pain and emotional pain, I've picked it up a little bit. Let's see if I can get rid of it. So I took 3 drops and rubbed it on the place where I could feel this sharp and really painful pain. And I was a bit nervous. I've got to admit, because I'm always nervous. I don't know whether they're going to work. I feel they're going to work, but I'm not going to say it is until it is. And what I noticed instantly was that pain shifted around to the other side of my body. And I went, oh my God, energy is moving. And that was a big eye-opener for me, because I actually felt it. Energy of negativity and heaviness has moved to the other side. So I took another 3 drops and rubbed it all over my back, and instantly it was gone. That was it. I didn't need no confirmation from anybody. I knew this is a miracle, is beautiful for spiritual work. So thereafter, whenever I was performing rituals, whenever I did meditation, whenever I did any kind of mantra, any kind of work, the sacred oil would be there, and I'd be working with it. It's amazing for so many things. So that's the sacred oil. From the sacred oil, I went on to, I think it was awakening. And what is awakening oil? Well, awakening oil, I wasn't going to tell anybody really, but it doesn't matter. You know, you do what you want, you make your own. I think that's beautiful. But awakening oil, you know, I just felt that there was a connection, because the world is always, Mother Nature is always giving us signs, always. And one of the signs that I quite quickly picked up on is like the Buddha's head. Okay, it looks like the beautiful muscle in there the pineal gland, right? It's somewhere in there, like there. If you do a scan, it's in the center. Go down the center there, and then there, and you'll meet it somewhere in the middle. And in the scans, normally it looks like a pine cone. So the Buddha's head, like a pine cone, right? And I thought, let me try pine. So I hunted and searched for the most beautiful way it's created and most natural way. And I then took all my 4 oils as base oil and then started again. So are we on 3 or 4? I think we're on 3, yeah, 4. And then I started with the pine and working with it, placing certain very powerful crystals, many different crystals. Obviously, the most common one you'll know is amethyst, which is a great, beautiful, spiritual, powerful stone, but many, many more. So I started working with that, and then I thought, okay, let's give it a go. So I launched it, we started working with it, all of us, and we started to try and attune to our higher self, meaning that we wanted to see our signs. And a lot of people used to say to me, Mark, I love your books, it's amazing what you went through, but I don't see anything, I don't feel anything, what am I doing wrong? And I'm saying, well, I can't tell you what you're doing wrong, but what I can share with you is that, you might want to try an oil or any oils that help you awaken. And thus this came out. So we started working with this oil and we started seeing things more clearly. So it was quite amazing. We were rubbing it on the crown chakra, on the third eye, what we call just here, somewhere around here, and round here, up and down here, and sometimes temples, and then wakening the heart a little bit, and then we're doing our work, breathing it in, and we were really trying to attune to the spirit world. We were trying to attune to all the different words that people use, like mediumship, clairvoyant, clairaudient, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's just awakening your higher self. And now I'm getting messages back, people saying, Mark, it's working. I felt this happened. You wouldn't believe what happened when I was asleep, because people use it a lot when they're asleep. So that's great. I didn't use it when I was asleep, but now I'm thinking, wow, that's brilliant. So I'm hearing people telling me about the awakening oil, that it's really helping them. People are now saying that they're using it on their crystals, holding the crystals. That's even working. Wow, brilliant. So I'm getting all this information. As I'm working with it too, I'm finding myself connecting to my tree, which is one of the things that I always do if I want to connect to the spirit world. I visualize my tree, sit by it, and then wait till somebody comes around the tree, and then I talk to them or give them a hug. Sounds a bit crazy, right? Well, it works. It is a really beautiful way to connect, and some people connect in different ways. I found myself hearing things more, feeling things more, triggers all the time, and laughing because the signs that were being given to me were so obvious. And I've posted a lot on social media as of late for the past few months, and that's because of the awakening oil. It's like, this is unreal. So it works. So thus I now have my awakening oil. Then I went on to another oil, which is called Moldavite oil. Well, Moldavite oil for me was probably the most frightening oil to work to try and create. I always knew I was going to make a Moldavite oil, but I didn't know how. And for many years that I've worked with Moldavite and love Moldavite, and I am writing a book nearly at the end. I keep saying that, but funnily enough, as I write, more comes in, more understandings, more, so it's growing and growing. But I needed to complement. I always knew that if I put a whole heap of Moldavite in a new jar with all my now 5 oils, okay, that's the base oil, and put tons of Moldavites in there, loads of different shapes and sizes, work with them on my clients, put them in the oil, which is the base oil. Now, what oil am I going to use? So I tried many different oils, and the only oil that I believe, in my humble opinion, and there are many oils in this oil, but the fundamental oil that for me no doubt works 100% hand in hand is the most powerful spiritual tree in the world, which is Palo Santo. I then started working on this oil on many different levels. One of the levels is, and you're probably going to laugh now, it's extraterrestrial level. I believe that we're not alone in this world, and we have the ability to connect to that through Moldavite. Some people will think I'm crazy now, but it's true. Moldavite does many amazing, unusual, and very scary sometimes things, but never ever causes any damage or issues. It's always quite profound. And for me, like I said, I could write a book, which I am, and that will come out soon, called The Power of Moldavite. So now we've got this Moldavite oil. People were saying to me, wow, I love Moldavite, I work with it, what's it good for? And I said, well, rub it on the Moldavite, hold your Moldavite, work with your Moldavite, then put it back on you and see what happens. It was actually activating the Moldavite even more. People were saying they were getting more from the Moldavite because of the Moldavite oil. And I said, yeah, it's the Palo Santo mixed with 3 or 4 others that obviously I'm not going to tell you all my secrets, but I am going to be open enough to tell you which are the most powerful ones. But there are certain oils in there that I want to keep to myself because, you know, I've worked 15 years at this, right? This is like hard work. 15 years. I'm not just going to give you everything so you can go and bloody do it, but I am going to give you the key notes of how to use these oils and work with them and to buy the oils, and you will get great results, okay? But this is my own, this is my baby, so, you know, I give you as much as I can, but you know what, that you will do fine if you listen to what I've just said in these videos by giving you certain key points to the oils, what to use. So this is pretty powerful stuff if you start your own. And I would recommend you do, definitely. And if you tell me that you felt this because you've added this, tell me, let me know. I'm so keen on learning and growing. So the Moldavite oil, really interesting. Each bottle has a tiny little piece of Moldavite in it just to keep the energy amazing as well, but not necessary. But I just like the idea of putting a piece of Moldavite in there that I'd worked on for, well, many months, many years. So my Moldavite oil has literally hundreds and hundreds of Moldavites in there. So every time I make an oil, I take one Moldavite and put it inside there, where it's a little tiny chip. Sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller, but this is where it kind of gets a bit crazy, really. People get a bit frustrated because my Moldavite chip wasn't big, and I say it's not about how big it is. You know, Moldavite is powerful, whether it's the tiniest of slices or whether it's big. It doesn't make any difference, but that's okay. That's the way it is. But my Moldavite oil now, people were starting to send me messages saying, Mark, you know, I work alongside, you know, famous people in the UFO world, and we're starting to use this to try and connect. People were telling me it was working. People were now telling me that this Moldavite oil is helping me connect to extraterrestrial, and they're getting visions, they're seeing things, and I'm going, right, okay, so this stuff is really bloody amazing. And it is. I've worked with it. I know the power of this, and it increases you to a different level, different energy level, different power. So like I would always use 3 Moldavites when I'm working with this. So I'd place a Moldavite on me and 2 in my hands. If I'm doing the lying down Moldavite trio, like I have on my website, you can buy Moldavite trios that I've worked with my oil, taken them out, and then they're up for sale for people to hold, 1 in each hand and 1 on the third eye, or on the heart, or on the throat, depending on what they want to do and connect with and speak and feel. They work really, really well. They've been really popular, and people are saying that they're getting great results from that, working with the oil. So working with the oil and working with Moldavite together is incredible. So there you go. So now we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 oils. Then I always wanted to, finally, this has possibly been my glory to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel, what you're watching now. And my first video is up to nearly 2 million views on lemon. It was inevitable that I knew lemon was so powerful, and the likes of Tolman talks about the power of the lemon. Yeah, powerful, powerful beyond understanding. I wanted to create something that was, people were saying that they were feeling like low. They had no energy. And I always knew I was going to create an oil with lemon, and I needed to find at least 12 or 13 different suppliers of pure lemon. So I went from England to all over the world and got all of these lemon essential oils, which were created in the most perfect way, the most natural way. And I put them all into this jar with, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all my 5 oils, 6 oils so far. And then I created that, and then I started putting these oils in, and lots of beautiful crystals specially designed for this oil. So this oil here is energizing oil. And many people have now been saying that, oh my God, you know, I've had a bad period and I'm using this and it's lifting me up. And people were giving me all sorts of messages saying, Mark, I feel better from it. I felt a bit down. I felt low. I felt depressed. My energy was low. And it works. And people were breathing it in and rubbing it on wherever they felt they needed it, whether it was their heart, they felt they needed it, their temples, third eye, wherever they were rubbing it on. Here, and the back of the neck is a great place to rub it, just at the back of the neck. Fantastic, this oil, and it energizes you through the day. If you're working in an environment where you're really busy all day and sometimes you just get a little low, this is the oil to use. It's brilliant, it lifts you up, spiritually speaking. It's not a super thunderbolt and lightning strike. It just is what it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful, uplifting energy oil that really works. So now I'm working on this oil, this big jar of oil, putting beautiful energy into it, making people, like seeing people skipping, feeling happy, feeling strong, feeling confident. This is the oil that I needed to make. So now this oil is ready. People are telling me it's working amazing. So that's number 7 oil. And last but not least, my final oil, which was probably the most nervous oil for me, because the time was never right. Although I believed it was one of the first oils I ever wanted to make, it never felt right, ever. I don't know why, I can't explain it, but now I understand why. I think I had to go through 15 years of learning, not just about healing people, but about what people were going through with the heart energy. And it was all about the heart. Everything is about the heart. Everything is about love and how we can heal our heart. And whatever that reason is, I call it heartache. People call it heartbreak, heart pain, all of those suffering from the heart. I wanted to make one specific oil to heal all of those things. And it only really came after I made the 7 oils. And this was going to be, I always knew there was going to be 8 oils made because I always saw the infinity, always. In fact, I saw the infinity the other day when I was working on this oil over here, which was bottling. I was bottling that oil there, which is awakening. And as I always buy brand new syringes and I take the oil and put them in here, and I saw the infinity sign, and it was like, it's just amazing when your signs come. And it is the final oil. And with this oil comes a great story. And the story is that I was meditating, and as I was meditating, it was amazing. All of a sudden, I felt and saw love in many different forms. I saw myself going through heartache, heartbreak, suffering, feelings that I wanted to take my life when I was going through such pain. And then I saw my ex-wives, and I saw one ex-wife feeling happy, holding a jar. And I thought, that's weird. And I could see little crystals in there, and the crystals in the jar were like, they were pink. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And then all of a sudden I'm getting all of this download, and all of a sudden the most amazing smell came up my nose, and it was rose. It was the smell of rose. When I'd finished this, I quickly wrote notes. I sometimes do that when I do meditation. And I realized this is number 8. It was my fear of doing it, because for me, I've been through so much heartache, so much pain, that how could I make an oil that would actually really work for heartache and heartbreak? Now I had all the pieces. So I took all my 7 oils as the base oils and looked and hunted for the most purest rose quartz. Because obviously what I saw in my meditation, when I saw my ex-wife Susie working with this oil, was rose quartz. Makes sense. And what I needed is to find the most purest rose essential. So I hunted all over the world. I tried Morocco, I tried all over, and the most purest form, but the most expensive, was from Bulgaria. It had to be that. There was no other alternative. It has to be. This is the oil of the oils, okay? For me anyway. So and again, my business was doing better and better and better, so I can now afford it. So it's not about the money, it's about making and creating something that is very, very powerful and is going to make a difference in people's lives. So I've got all the formula now. I'm now working on it. So the oil is now ready. But is it? There's something missing. I'm working on the oils. There's something missing. Then it came to me. It needs the feminine. And who else better than my ex-wife, who is best friends with me, and now she can hold a little jar of oil with the crystals in there, and I'll ask her to put her energy of love in there to see us happy and well, and we still love each other in that way. We care for each other, and we've grown, and it's beautiful. Put that energy in, please, Susie. And she did. She worked with that oil, and then I got that oil back with the crystals and put them into the jar. I carried on working it and thought, right, I'll try again. Perfect. It is now ready. It has all the essence, all the ingredients of love, the ingredients of healing, the ingredients of crystals, the ingredients of oil. Everything is now complete. And thus I created Heartache. It's called Healing Heartache. So 8 oils to rule them all. 8 rings to rule them all. These have grown organically in just the right way. They will be boxed one day, I guess, when I find a beautiful box, but until then, they're on my website. I hope today that this 1-hour video serves you well. I hope you now understand from this 1-hour workshop how these oils work. The heart healing oil is really simple. There's just one place I use it. Can you guess? My heart. I always get a piece of rose quartz, and I think the first 100 or 200 bottles I put a little tiny piece of rose quartz in there, as you do, but it's not that big a deal if there isn't, because they're all infused in that energy anyway, as all my crystals are. That's the difference between my crystals. You've got the oils. You've got the crystals that are being worked on clients. So whenever I work with a crystal, the energy of the memory of the healing on that client, not negativity, but the healing property is in that crystal. Then it goes into the jars. Now, one of the things that I share with all my practitioners is, if you're gonna begin working with these oils and you think, you know what, I want a nice base oil, because all my oils are basically 50 years old. And you're going to say, how can they be 50 years old? Well, the first oil I ever took in my hand was from my first mentor, who carried this oil with her everywhere where she went. And she was a high Wiccan priestess. And what I liked, what she was doing, was working with this oil. And she said, oh, Mark, this is 50 years old, or, you know, maybe 51. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, these oils are old. So like, I said, oh, could I have some? Base oil, it's always there. The memory is there. My oils never run out. They always go half down and then I refill again. So it's always energized, fresh all the time. And it's always carrying that memory, always. So that's a beautiful thing. So what I say to anybody who wants to start their own oil is, yeah, buy one of my oils, use it as that base, that foundation of what Mark's worked with and everybody else that he's worked with and used. And now you can create your oil. What I would suggest is use a good base oil. What I would also suggest, guys, is never, ever sacrifice your oils for something that you think, oh, well, it's not really what I want, but I'll put it in anyway. Don't ever do that. Never. I've bought thousands of oils and gone, nope, and just give them away, because you are trying to hear your higher self. You're trying to connect to that oil. You have to listen to your intuition, what feels right going into that. You'll know instantly. Like when you see a crystal, you know it's the right crystal. Same thing. So if you've got a big jar and you're now creating your own oil and you put your base oil in there, which is, say, grapeseed, and then you take one of my bottles because you like the idea that you want a physical healing one, or whether you want a heartache one and you want to create your own, then you're going to go to many different places around the world and you're going to smell different oils and you're going to work with different crystals, but you're only going to use the ones that really resonate. You're going to sit down and work with your crystals, and when you feel the energy of love and you feel amazing, that amazingness then goes into the oil. So you take that crystal and put it in the oil. So these are the key ingredients. You must never tarnish or dilute the beautiful essence of your oils. Never, never. That's sacrilege. And I often mention this, that if you take a glass of champagne, if you're into champagne, you like it, and it's a big glass of champagne and you come along with one little drop of arsenic poison and do that, are you going to drink it? No, you're not, because you're always going to think, Jesus, it's got one little drop of arsenic, this is going to kill me. Well, for me, if I drop one oil that doesn't feel right into my oil, it's going to ruin my oil. Therefore, always have a high standard of what you feel is right for your oils. Then you'll never be let down. You'll always love your oils. But like this room, if I put one thing in this room that I don't like, guess what I'm going to be fixated on? That one thing that I don't like. That's what happens with the mental mind. Always fixators on the negative. So always try and keep your oils in the positive. How does Mark work with his oils? Well, like all the practitioners, we have the oils ready. Somebody comes in the room and says, oh, Mark, I feel like I want to connect to my higher self. I feel like I want to astral travel. I feel like I want to feel amazing. Okay, so I take the Moldavite oil, or I'll take the awakening oil. Okay, somebody comes into the room, I've just lost my partner to the spirit world, or I've just broken up from somebody who I love very much. Straight away, healing heartache oil. Somebody comes in, I feel, oh Mark, I just feel like somebody's attacking me. I feel terrible. I have got to feel, straight to the healing, straight to the cleansing oil. And you see what I mean? So all of these 8 will always come in handy to whoever purchases them, because they're always there for you. Now, how do I work with them? Now, I'm going to finish on this note and you're going to go, are you kidding me? And I'm going to say, no, it's true. I'm going to let you into a secret. The greatest power that anybody can hold is the power of trust. So when anybody ever comes to my healing academy, when they're lying down on that healing bed, I tell them to say nothing. I walk over to the healing oils without even looking at them, pick it up, open it, use it, then put it forward next to me, and then go and do the healing work. When I finished, guess what? The bottle was exactly what they needed. Now that, my dear friends, is the power of healing. To trust and know that you are guided to every bottle you need to at the right moment. That is how I work with them, and that is what confuses most people who work in the mind, because I know the most powerful energy in the world is guidance from the spirit world. And yet most people would think that's crazy. Well, it hasn't done me any harm for the past 15 years. And yeah, I'm very happy. Welcome to the world of spirits, healing oils. I believe with my hand on my heart that they work. I am humbled to be part of the oils, absolutely. To leave a legacy behind and hope these one day will touch more hearts every day is something that I am passionate about. Every single oil that I wrap and pack, I always hold, and all my staff do. They only work here when they're happy, and they are beautiful staff. They always give a little prayer, and they always give me a bottle and say, will you just say something? And I always add a little bit of something, as much as I can, and I have done with every single oil I've got ready before now. I moved to Bali and stay there for a few months working with Tolman and Lella, Satie, and writing my book. So all of the oils are now ready, energized. That's why I look a little bit tired, and because of my ear infection, of course. So I had a lot of kind of like this kind of physical and emotional work that I needed to do to create before I leave for Bali. So I feel great now, guys. I really do. I mean that hand on my heart. Don't worry about me. I'm absolutely fine. drink plenty of water and eat healthy is what's important. And that's it, guys. I hope this video serves you well. I am very sorry that I haven't made too many videos these past few days and weeks, because you know that I always like to be fit and healthy when I do videos, and you can now see that I'm getting stronger again because of this ear infection. So I'm back again, and I haven't done so bad for the past 2 years. I think I've kind of been there most days for you guys, and I've shared all my secrets as a healer, as a psychic, as a reader, as a practitioner, as a healer, and somebody who cares. So everything that I share with you is what I've done all my life for 15 years. When I say all my life, it was because my life wasn't really a life until I became a healer, and I realized what life was about. Before that, it was just an illusion. So when I ever say all my life, I mean the 15 years that I've been doing this. I hope you loved this video. It was a little workshop. It was over an hour, and I hope you've enjoyed it today. I'm looking forward to sending it out there to you guys to enjoy, and I really hope that you understand what the oils mean now in their own unique way. And that's it, guys. Use the oils sparingly. Just use 3 drops. Many people put too much on. It's not necessary. The power and the energy in these oils, you only need 1 to 3 drops maximum, okay? And always remember, guys, breathe it in through your nose at least 10 times before you do any of the work, and blow out through your mouth. It's so important to release the toxins, both spiritually and physically, from the body before you start. You clear your mind, you clear your body. It's a good start, okay? And then trust your instinct and ask yourself, where should I rub this oil? Where is the most important? Ask yourself that question. Don't always listen to me. Listen to your higher self. You know more than anybody your body. I don't know your body. You do. So listen to that and trust like I do. Always pick the right oil at the right time. Don't even need to look at the name, and it always is perfect. And that's it, guys. Love you all. Thank you for going to markbajerski.com and buying the oils. Thank you for supporting everything that I do. Love you all. Take care. And now I'm going to get some rest. Okay, take care. Bye.